Here's an update on negotiations in Iran from the perspective of a negotiation expert. I'm Colin McRoberts. I'm a Democrat running for Congress in the Kansas 1st District, and I am a negotiation expert. I've advised negotiators in a couple of dozen countries around the world. People bring me in to help them do tough deals because I'm very good at what I do. But you don't have to be an expert negotiator to know the next 2 weeks are going to be rough for the United States. There's lots of reasons why. To keep this video short, I want to focus on just one, and that's the fact that the Iranians have achievable goals, and we have, unfortunately, a way more achievable but way less effective goal. From the Iranian perspective, they've asked for a lot. They were ready to go with 10 specific demands, which we apparently were not ready to receive. Sort of like how they were ready to go when we started the war by closing the Strait of Hormuz, and we were not ready for them to close the Strait of Hormuz. Well, those demands they've made are aggressive, but they've already achieved a lot of them. They want to keep the current regime in place, but we weren't killing the current regime. We are good at killing Iranians. We've done a lot of that over the course of this war, but we weren't able to achieve regime change, so we left this particular regime in place so that we were able to negotiate with somebody, so they'll likely get that in the negotiations. They want sanctions lifted. A month ago, I would have told you that was a huge ask, but we already lifted sanctions on Iran and on Russia as part of a last-ditch effort to control the cost of the war because the economic chaos we caused was so great. It didn't work particularly well, but now it gives the Iranians what they're asking for, and it's easier to keep the status quo than it is to create a change. They're likely to get that as well. But the biggest ask is the $2 million fee per ship passing through the Strait of Hormuz, which they weren't getting before we attacked, but since they were able to close the straits and keep them closed despite our best efforts, they're likely to get some number. It's probably not going to be $2 million per ship, but it's not going to be nothing. And if it's anything close to $2 million per ship, we're talking about a transfer of tens of billions of dollars to the Iranian regime. Disaster for the United States, for Israel, for most of the rest of the world, because that money will be used to some extent to rebuild the infrastructure we've destroyed, civilian infrastructure, but also to rebuild military capacity, potentially even terrorism capacity, nuclear capacity. And there will surely be some limits on how they can spend that money, but this administration is not good at enforcing that, not good at the kind of normal diplomacy it takes to make that actually stick, so I'm very not optimistic. To set off against that Iranian strength, Donald Trump has one objective: look good, look strong, do anything it takes. I expect him to fall into a trap that traditionally really affects inexperienced and foolish negotiators, which is that he will declare victory with anything. He'll take any small concession he gets out of the negotiations, because we never defined a really clear set of goals going into the war or the negotiations. He can hold it up and say, this is the one thing I wanted. This little security guarantee, this little package of economic changes, this little bit of diplomatic changes or pro-democracy changes. Something small, something not worth the time, the blood, the deaths, the destruction, the chaos, the economic uncertainty we've caused through this attack, but something he can hold up and say this was a win. And then he'll walk away. And we will have paid all of that, suffered all of that, lost all of that for some tiny, negligible gain, so that Donald Trump can say that he's strong. It'll be a lie. Donald Trump lies. But the Republican Party is likely to give it to him, to tell him what a brilliant man he is, what a good, strong boy he is, because the party is obedient. And that obedience is what makes him feel like he can get away with it. And he will, unless we vote different, unless we change Congress. Unless we put in leaders who care, leaders who know something about negotiation, who know something about the world, and are willing to fight to get better for our people, for our districts, for Americans. That's what I'm doing. I'm Colin McRoberts, running in the Kansas 1st District. Check out our socials, find out more about me. I'd love to meet you out there on the trail, hear what your concerns are, and you'll hear more from me as the negotiations go on. I do more of these videos to update you from a negotiator's perspective. Thank you. Ad Astra.